Welcome back to Two Birds, One Stone, an Arizona Cardinals podcast. Um, Issue number one. This episode is late. We know the game happened. What 2 weeks ago now? Something like
Two
that.
weeks.
Something like that.
Over 2 weeks.
Um, First reasoning: we had a lot to process. We're sad boys. Our season's over. It's got to take a step back. Make sure we don't come in the next day saying, get rid of Kyler, fire everybody, everything sucks, blah, blah, blah. Now we're more level headed. Um, Issue number two, I'm sick as fuck. So I tried to give it a couple days so I wouldn't sound sick as fuck while we recorded. But as you can hear, I still sound pretty sick. So it's just the show must
And
go
guess
on.
what? I'm
So we're
sick as
recording
fuck
anyway.
also. I just
Something's-
became sick as fuck also.
Something's in the water, baby.
Almost got pushed off further. So
Almost like
sorry,
there's
not sorry, really.
almost like there's a global pandemic maybe going on, causing people to
Yeah.
get sick. I passed. I had two negative COVID tests, but I don't know. They were the at-home
I
ones.
think I have gonorrhea.
Well, if this is COVID, I'd like to reiterate what we said last week about the fucking. It is like, oh, so and so got COVID. Hopefully they can come back. This fucking sucks. My temp's been like 103. I finally got it under 100 this morning, and then it got back up to like 99 something. Just trying to fucking keep that shit down. But it's been
Regulate that temp, baby.
yeah. But yes, that's the reasoning for the delay, and we apologize to you all. But this is season finale, unfortunately. The Cardinals lose in the wild card round to the arch nemesis LA Rams in resounding fashion. Was never really a game, 34-11, and it was embarrassing. I think that'll be the
Shit
title
pumping.
of the episode. It was a clowning, a
It
shit
was
pumping. It was everything.
embarrassing. Yeah, I don't expect us to really go into too great of detail about what exactly happened in the game. I know it's kind of all this, but frankly, don't remember. I've blocked it out of my mind these past couple of weeks. So we're more so going to talk about like how this season went as a whole, and then kind of what we expect to happen in the offseason, and then expectations kind of going from this point.
Well, I'll give you a little refresher on the game, just to show how bad it was. It was the worst game the offense has probably played since Kyler and Cliff got here, like even his rookie year. Like it was that bad. They were 0 for 9 on third down, which kept putting the defense in a terrible spot. You can go with which came first, the chicken or the egg. Was it the defense playing shitty or I think the offense put the defense in such a terrible spot time and time again. What are you going to do? They never committed to James Conner. I think Josian Anderson tweeted before the game. Here's what it said. A Cardinals source told me before the game their winning formula is to have 25 plus rushes from their running backs in a game and no turnovers in the matchup. They emphasize if we do that, the Rams have no chance. They were 5-0 this season when they combined those two metrics. James Conner had 4 carries. Chase Edmonds has 8 carries. They just immediately scrapped their entire game plan after what seemed like just a hectic first drive. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was a long time ago. I don't know if you recall, we're sitting on the couch watching, and right away, Kyler's throwing hands up, motions to the sideline. I get they want to kind of no huddle and do their thing, but like slow things down a little bit. Let's not get too crazy. And it seemed like they never got their feet under him. Did you notice how much Cliff sways? He's holding this play sheet, and he's just like kind of like rocking back and forth. And then it shows McVay, and he's just fucking like stone faced, like ready to go.
Swaying nervous also.
The moment was 100% too big, and it sucks to say. I was talking to a buddy this past weekend who's a Titans fan. As you all know, we have Titans relations up to this point. But the worst part about this is realizing that everyone was right the whole time. Like even going back to when we were 7-0, and like everybody else around the league is like, oh, they're still frauds. Like they're worse than last year's Steelers, who started like 12-0 or whatever it was. Like it'll catch up to them, and you're like, no, dude. Like you're passionate about it because you're watching it every week, and you're like, no, I'm seeing it with my eyes. Like we're a good football team. We have a chance to do this. And then when it comes down to it, your eyes kind of fooled you and everybody else was right the whole time. It's like, fuck, that's a tough pill to
Yeah,
swallow.
that definitely sucked. That was one of the worst. Also, fuck you, Titans. I've been saying you've been frauds from the get go. Number one seeds also the fucking got bounced in the first round. I'll take my
At least you
flowers
got
gladly
that.
for that. But yeah, it was just both of them. I'd say I don't even know who you would say fucked up worse, Cliff or Kyler. Kyler played probably the worst pro game he's played in his entire career.
Yeah.
Cliff, which granted, I don't think Kyler was really put in that great of a position to succeed, but a great quarterback would overcome that and put on a better showing. Kyler's not that at this point. Could he be? Sure. At this point, no, he's not. He can't. He's not a sure talent, but at some point, talent needs to equal wins and deep playoff runs, and he doesn't have the stature or he doesn't have the head on him right now to be able to handle that to be able to handle that kind of run. So that's with it.
Yeah, no, he played I'd say his worst game as a Cardinal, 19 of 34, all things considered with the stage and everything. 19 of 34, 137 yards, 2 picks, 2 carries for 6 yards, 3.4 yards an attempt. The offense had a total of 183 yards. The 2 carries for 6 yards is like, I feel like everybody that was talking about this game said, okay, if the Cardinals are going to win this game, Kyler's going to have to do some shit with his legs. What the fuck happened? They just, like we said earlier, the idea was to pound the ball with the running backs, but adjacent to that is to also get Kyler involved. And like I said, to have 2 carries is like what I wonder if it's Kyler. I wonder if he's the one that's like, not that he's scared to get hit or doesn't want to get injured, but like, does he not feel
I could definitely
with
see
those
that.
called like maybe he just doesn't like those plays in those situations? I have no idea, but to only have 2 carries and waste one of the like best like tools that a running or any quarterback has in the league and Kyler Murray's legs and just not
No,
use
it's
them
crazy because
is
I've been
nuts.
saying, if you flash all the way to the very first
Don't
episode
do
of Two
this.
Birds on Stone
Don't do this.
podcast,
I didn't say 2
you were the one
carries.
who said
I didn't say
that
2
you
carries.
wanted to be a pocket passer.
Absolutely.
Pocket passer.
Yeah, that first for sure. But I didn't say ever abandon it totally. He had
Right.
800 something yards rushing last year. I said, let's get him down to like 500. And he had well under that. I think he was in like 300 or something.
And I think that it's shown that he cannot be an effective pocket passer with his legs being a threat to the defense, right or wrong?
No, I don't think that's right. Look at the
I don't
season
think he's
total.
shown that he can
Look at
be
the
an
season
effective
total number.
pocket passer.
Okay, well, you're gonna make me do it, but he had like 70% completion percentage, well over, I think over 3,700 yards, even missing games, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks. Like those are great, pure passing numbers. I don't have them all right in front of me, but like he can be a great pocket passer. My thing is why not have both? Like just because you're just ignoring this whole trait that you have.
Right.
Just like I'm not saying he needs like what am I trying to say?
I think that he doesn't want to is kind of my thing. I think that he feels he shouldn't have to or doesn't want to because he's gotten hurt the past 2 seasons doing the running shit. And that's cool. That's fine. But hey, man, be able to win some fucking ball games. You know what I mean? It's if I don't know. This happens every time.
I think when we talked after the Seahawks game was the most concerned I had been about the Kyler thing, like with the body language and like people like pointing that out. Up until then, I was like, everybody just shut the fuck up and let him do his own thing. When you see it in playoffs and big games and that infamous Russell Wilson clip was going viral, Russell Wilson was on the Manning cast. And at this point, the Cardinals were down 31-11 with like 12 minutes to go in the game. And Russ is on there. As cringe as he is, nobody's ever going to say Russ isn't a good leader. Say what you want about him. But he's like, if I'm in this spot, I'm running up and down the sideline, clapping my hands, saying, guys, it's not over. We're down 20. Anything can happen. And then it flashes to what Kyler's actually doing. And he's literally doing his patented sitting there with his hands folded in his lap, just staring forward. And it's like, yeah. And like Peyton and Eli are like, yeah, like that makes sense. And then it shows Kyler's doing literally the exact opposite of that. It's like, fuck. Like,
No, I mean
All starting to catch up a little bit.
these past like this ass half of the season has me so turned off Kyler Murray. It's insane. Like I don't really want much to do with him anymore. Sure, a great quarterback. I don't really want much to do with him anymore. At this point, if you ask me, would I rather have Joe Burrow or Kyler Murray? Give me Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's a fucking leader and a winner. Kyler Murray's a fucking piss
much of a stretch.
Bitch ass loser. Is kind of that's
well, damn, easy.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm not going that far. There's only a handful of guys I would take over him. And to be in that spot as an organization isn't bad. Like we can do that on another off-season episode of guys who we would take over him. But I wouldn't say it's more than 3 or 4 for me. But that's besides the point. There's things that needs to improve on. A quote came out afterwards. And, okay, we're kind of throwing it on Kyler right now. And I don't think anybody out there.
It's not even his mostly his fault. Like he's the number 2 blame on the list.
Right.
There's so much blame to be thrown and so much blame that needs to be caught. That's why he's catching so much because it was that big of a collapse. It's all warranted.
So on top of like the leadership thing and the body language shit, there was a report that came out about him watching film. However true it may be, this is a direct quote from Kyler. He says, "I think I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens," Murray said. "I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game because in my head, I see so much." I don't like hearing that from my starting quarterback. Like, that's your job. Like, what are you doing in the meantime? Like,
literally your job. Your job is to fucking be an NFL quarterback, and that's a large part of your job. Not to go fucking play video games with the FaZe Clan. It's to fucking watch film.
I get. I'm
so fucking turned off. This kid is crazy. Like, I cannot. I don't know.
I get the part of not drowning yourself and overstimulate, like getting confused with like, okay, well, I've seen this look so many times and this look, and then confusing yourself. If you're sitting there watching for 8 hours, but you definitely got to put in your time and not act like you're above it.
I'm okay with him being like people being like cocky. Burrow, cocky dude. Fucking Matt Stafford, kind of a cocky dude whenever it comes to certain shit. Whenever Kyler's like that, how many quarterbacks has there been in this NFL that have been able to just this league, not watch film? Jamarcus Russell is way better of an athletic specimen than Kyler Murray is. How the fuck do you not expect?
But I understand what you're saying. No, but I understand. Jamarcus Russell is a fat ass.
Okay. All right. Well, you can go back and watch, do whatever you have to do about that. He's literally the number 1 quarterback prospect to come out in fucking 20, 30 years.
I don't know if that. I mean, Andrew Luck, John Elway. What are you talking about? Andrew Luck was like Peyton Manning. Like,
right. Okay. Well, you need to study up on Jamarcus Russell things. I guess he was like this.
I understand he won a national title, but Andrew Luck and those guys coming out were better prospects. I don't know what we're getting anyway.
But what I'm trying to say is just the arrogance to be like, yeah, I don't really have to fucking do that shit. I'm so good, I don't have to watch film. How many people before you have been able to just not watch quarterbacks, have been able to come into the National Football League, not watch film, and just say fuck it and go out there and be successful? That kind of shit doesn't happen. That's the arrogance that I don't like because it's fucking stupid. It makes no sense, right?
I agree 100%. I don't even give a fuck if you don't do it. Don't put that on a quote. Like, don't talk to people about that. Like, I just don't want to hear it. But yeah, no, I mean, not to pile on Kyler. Kyler is a back-to-back Pro Bowler. He's played brilliantly in the regular season and first half of the regular seasons past couple of years before getting banged up. We've got to see a little more. We've got to see him stay healthy, and we've got to see him show up in games like this. Because now, what were they 0-6 in playoff clinching games, and now 0-1 in the playoffs with a huge blowout loss? It's not really a good look so far. And you don't want to be that team where it's like every year, like look at the Packers, like they're fucking 13-3 every single year, 1 seed, 2 seed, and what do? They get bounced in the first round of the NFC Championship game every year. That's not what I want. When you've got a franchise quarterback, you want Super Bowls and nothing less. So. I don't really know where we go from here. So, because like we talked about it after the game when we were watching, like there's no massively glaring need that's like sitting in front of you. There's no like, well, fuck, if we shore up The cornerback position will be right back and better next year. Like
It's
there's
always been the
no
quarterback. It's always been a quarterback. Excluding the Carson Palmer and the Kurt Warner years, it's always been, oh, if we just had a quarterback, maybe we could get something going. Now we have that, and it's still not like we have our young franchise quarterback, and it's I think we talked about that on the 2 Mondays ago whenever the game happened, where in years prior whenever we had Carson Palmer, it was like, yeah, Carson Palmer's good, but like he's not like we're not going to have him for 10 years. And with Kurt Warner, yeah, Kurt Warner's good, but we're not going to have him for 10 years. Now we have a guy that we can have for 10 years. And whenever we get to this point to have such an epic collapse, like you said, fuck, if our defense was even competent, we'd be able to fucking make a real run. Our defense was competent. Our offense was competent. You can't sit here and tell me that DeAndre Hopkins would have won us that game. He doesn't make that big of a difference. There's no true,
not a
like
23-point difference. No.
There's no true, yeah, if we can draft this next year, then we're fucking set. We'll be fine. There's
right.
None of that.
Like outside of the interior D line, you could say it's like, okay, that needs an upgrade, but there's still guys there. Like with Watt coming back, Corey Peters, obviously he's a little older. I think that is a big priority next to wide receiver 2, those 2 spots. But I mean, kind of piggybacking off of that, who are like the foundational young pieces that we have on our team? Like who are like the 26, 27 and under, like building blocks that we've drafted and developed ourselves over the past 5 years. Like Kyler, just try and name some of
Isaiah, Byron. No fucking receivers. No fucking D linemen.
That list is Kyler Murray. I'm gonna still include Buddha in that, even though he's getting up there.
Yeah.
Jalen Thompson.
Sure. Byron Murphy.
I'm not putting Isaiah in there yet. He's flashed. I don't know. People might be pissed off. He's not that guy. He's not even a fucking full-time starter yet. Like, I'm not throwing Isaiah in there. And I'm not – I mean, Byron I'll throw in, but he was very inconsistent down the stretch. Bad, you could say. That's 4 guys. Like, Zach Allen? No. I'm talking about, potential – they're getting a second contract for sure. Potential maybe Pro Bowl type players. There's not many, and that's the point I'm trying to make. You can slap Band-Aids on something as long as you want and go make big trades for guys like DeAndre Hopkins, and that's awesome. He's been great. And throw money at older free agents that have been there, done that, like J.J. Watt, and be like, oh, that's great. He's going to be a leader, and he's going to stop a collapse from happening. But he's kind of injury-prone, and that was kind of the joke that everyone was making. Oh, J.J.'s going to play 6 games. Guess what? He played 7. And that's all. And everybody was right about that. And then, okay, well, we'll get AJ Green. He'll replace Larry Fitzgerald or whatever on that veteran inside receiver. Nah, I mean, his numbers ended up okay, but in big spots, he choked like a fucking bitch and had the drops. Christian Kirk, guy that you drafted in the second round, you're supposed to develop a little bit. Just so much meh and not enough of oh, shit, they hit on that guy. Literally, Jalen Thompson is the only guy that I'm thinking of right now where it's you're watching games and even the announcers are like, oh, this young safety kind of pairing with Buddha, he's going to be a good player for years to come. There's who else are you saying that about? There's not really many other guys like that. And that's a problem. That starts with the draft and developing your own talent. So,
which has never really been able to be done.
No.
There's really never been a successful guy, excluding Larry Fitzgerald, who's started their career in Arizona, taken all the, I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know. I mean, if you go back to early
Adrian Wilson, Darnell Dockett,
but there's not near as many as what there should be. Especially, I'm talking about with Steve Kimes, his realm, his draft classes. There's not. If you were to pull up Steve Kimes, previous however many draft guys, how long has Steve Kimes even been on the Cardinals?
Well, he's been a scout since '99. I think he got hired at GM in 2013. I think 2013.
If you were to look at his draft classes, there's really not. The best one is, I guess, Kyler, but you can't hardly fucking say that right now because that's still maybe a B+ at this point. He's number 1 overall pick. It's a no-brainer. He's not drafted well. I think a lot of when you're winning as a GM, it's so easy to get credit and say, yes, shit's clicking, shit's working. But because we've even talked about this midseason. Oh, Steve Keim doing a great job. These pieces are working. AJ Green was playing good at the time. JJ was playing good at the time. Shit's clicking. James Conner was a great sign. But as soon as shit hits the fan, it fucking flips. It switches. It's, oh, this guy sucks at drafting. We have no young pieces. And
that's because it makes sense, because there's those guys that are flashing in front of your face, and you got some playmakers, and it's JJ Watt, and it's like you're supposed to find the glue guys and the role guys to find and plug in between and behind all that flash and the lights, and like there's supposed to be a third round fucking rookie linebacker that can come in, or a Dennis Gardeck type who is kind of that guy, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, or a guy that's making big plays on special teams as a gunner, or like somebody get you excited like that. There's no young receiver that we took in the 6th round that's like, oh shit, he's kind of made some flashes and stepped up like when this happened, blah, 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 blah. Antoine Wesley a little bit, but like, not enough there. Like there just wasn't enough of those background pieces that you need for like championship fucking winning football. And that's a problem. And then there was like never any like identity. Like the Cardinals' identity was supposed to be, okay, they're this offensive fucking juggernaut. They're not very tough or anything like that. But like it never felt like week in and week out. It's like, okay, we know what we're getting from them. Like this unit, okay, we know what the offense is going to do. The first 7 weeks, you could kind of say that, but even then, there was ugly games in Jacksonville and I don't know, it was so long ago now, but there was games where it's like, okay, that wasn't great.
I feel like ever since Kyler got hurt and D-Hop got hurt, there's been no rhythm. They're like,
my highest point of the season was when Kyler got hurt and D-Hop got hurt and they went 2-1 with McCoy. I was like, if we can fucking go on the road and beat the Niners, which we'll get to, are playing in the NFC Championship game with Colt McCoy in their building, and beat Russ, who was playing in that game in Seattle, who we lost to when Kyler came back. Like at that point in the year when they went out, it was like, oh shit, there are these glue guys. Here they are. They're picking up the slack and it's going.
I just still felt like there was no reason. Identity.
I guess that's kind of, yeah. I don't know.
Whenever either way, whenever Kyler Murray has been on the field after he got hurt, there's been no. I just feel like they've been out of rhythm for like fucking 3 months. Like haven't been able to click in like 3 months. And I guess we can kind of go on to Cliff now. I think it's Cliff's fault. I really do, because the roster wasn't this bad. It was not this bad.
There were holes, but it wasn't this bad. I get what you're saying. It could have been better depth in certain places. There should, like I said, a few more role player, good, like glue guys. But you're right. This isn't a team that should have been bounced in the first round.
No, absolutely not. Cliff, I mean, if in my opinion, I think I want him to get fired. I don't want him to coach next year. I think he will, but I don't want him to.
Right.
It's just and we've talked about this extensively. I don't see how you can watch the divisional round game against the Rams and the epic fail and collapse we had in the back half of the season and say, okay, I'm completely fine with having that guy as the head coach. You cannot look at what he's done in the second half of the season, how flat he let this team fall, and feel confident going into next season with that. There's just no single part about me that respects Cliff Kingsbury's ability as a coach or as anything. And it's crazy how whenever shit starts to hit the fan, all the old shit seems to come up. Like whenever you had Patrick Mahomes, like on Part of My Take, PFT commenter said the only way to stop Patrick Mahomes is to insert Cliff Kingsbury as his head coach. Like all this old shit comes up because Cliff he's not the guy. You could say what you want, but he's not the guy. I
don't know if he is or not. I mean, he probably isn't, but the odds, they're not going to fire the guy. Like I've got my foot, like here's the ledge, here's fire Cliff, here's keep Cliff. I've got my feet on both sides. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. In my mind, I know they're not going to do it. So I'm not getting my, not to say get my hopes up, because I don't know if I necessarily want it or not. But the people that are saying, what do you why would you fire a guy who's made progress and he took that 3-13 team to 11-6 in a playoff appearance. Good tweet. His name's Alex Weiner. That's kind of funny, but he's a reporter for the Arizona Cardinals. I follow him on Twitter. First, he quoted J.J. Watt's press conference, which this is all true, talking about the season. It was a massive failure. I mean, from what we were capable of doing to what we showed today, a massive failure. And he was right. This season was a failure. I don't give a fuck if you won 3 more football games. 2 things can be true, he said. You can make progress and not be successful. Last year was the same situation in that regard. Yeah, we made progress and wins. That does not mean we were successful. Not at all. Because successful from where you were, 7-0, favorite to win the fucking Super Bowl to where you ended up, there's no success in that. Oh, wow, we made the playoffs after we only won 3 games a few years ago. Fuck that. What are you talking about? That's not success at all. You get blown out by fucking 23 on the road to a division rival, and you're saying that we made progress. And then bullshit. There's no success. There's nothing to hang your hat on. And we can kind of get into it now as I kind of am getting fumey. Michael Bidwell is not happy whatsoever. And there's lots of reports that came out about him. They had this massive meeting where things got shit hit the fan, apparently, as Kyle Odegaard says. And then he was a longtime Cardinal reporter for years, and he stepped away before last season. But obviously he knows people in the building. And then Ian Rappaport, who, why would he put his nose into it at all? Like, gets involved and says there was no meeting. My sources say. Okay, I don't know. We probably talked about this. There's no way that a meeting did not happen between the owner, GM, and head coach after a blowout in the playoffs. There's a meeting no matter what after the end of the season. So to say that there wasn't, that's fucking horseshit. Somebody, I'm assuming Bidwell, probably didn't want that report out there. So Ian Rappaport and Schefter and all these fucking guys just get paid by these guys to say what they want. So he comes in and says that didn't happen. Regardless, that needed to happen. I want him to be pissed off. Like, you don't have to go in there and cut heads and like fire everybody, but you need to think about it. You need to like evaluate everything and like not allow this to happen again.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with it all. I really hope that fucking meeting happened because that's just one step closer to firing Cliff. I'm so far on the fire Cliff side that it's ridiculous. Fire Cliff, promote Vance Joseph to the head coach.
Ew, don't make me fucking puke. There's only, okay, we'll get to this now. But if you fire Cliff Kingsbury, there's only 2 options. Brian Dable in Buffalo. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm sick, guys. Brian Dable in Buffalo. What he's done with Josh Allen, just a raw, scrappy talent. We all saw what he was his first couple of seasons. He was not consistent. He was not a good quarterback at that time. He just turned him into the second best quarterback in the league, who's going shot for shot with Patrick Mahomes, and he looks incredible. That's option number 1. Option number 2, you've had the offensive guy with your young quarterback, kind of molded him his first couple of years. Now what the problem is, you're soft as fuck, and you don't have any fucking like hungry dogs on your team to go out and like get into fights on something. Like there was no umph the past month. Go get Brian Flores from Miami. You've already kind of established your offensive identity. Let him hire somebody to be, or maybe a more experienced offensive coordinator to integrate what Cliff has done and maybe throw some new things in there to help Kyler out. But change the culture like of the team in like a tough way. Turn your focus to the defense and let Kyler, as he gets older, kind of take care of the offense on his own, because I do think eventually he'll be able to do that. Those are the only 2 options. Buy Vance Joseph. That is not an option. He's not going to be our head coach, in my opinion. What do you think about the other 2?
I can get behind Brian Flores. I don't know much about the Bills guy. I don't really know.
He's their offensive coordinator. He was a Patriots assistant for a while too.
Yeah, but I could get behind Brian Flores. I really could. Just Cliff needs to be gone. He won't be, but he needs to be.
He won't be. Like I said,
next year, whenever they get bounced again in the first round or they don't make the playoffs, he'll be gone. So, and
that's all it's going to take, little brother. It's going to take another. Let's say they go 10-7, 11-6, and lose in the first round. He'll be gone. That's the way it goes. And I think he probably deserves that. I think he deserves one more. But like I said, it's not happening. He's not getting fired. Plus, Vance Joseph is, I think he's the betting favorite, plus like 250, which are really good odds to be the next coach of the Dolphins. So for people that want him gone, you're probably going to get that wish. With that comes two compensatory picks. So we get 2 third-round picks, one for this year and one for next year. So that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Who do you want as a DC if he leaves? I've got a good name.
Vic Fangio?
Yes. Wouldn't that be good? He's been an extremely successful D coordinator, not as much really as a head coach. We saw with the Broncos, but he also never really had a quarterback with the Broncos. So his defenses, he's the one that was behind those good Khalil Mack Bears defenses. And really his defenses the first couple years in Denver were solid. So I think pairing him with Cliff and letting him kind of take control of the defense, pick up where Vance left off, maybe see if he can get something out of those 2 rookie linebackers. I would like to go in the direction of Vic Fangio for sure.
What about like Dan Quinn? He wears backwards hats and is cool now. Never used to not be.
That would be cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, he did do good things with the Cowboys defense, but they have a lot of talent on their defense. Plus, I think he might be a head coach. I could see maybe like the Bears.
I don't know. I feel
in
like
that direction.
the Cowboys didn't do well enough for him to merit.
Oh, he's getting interviews for sure. I think the fucking Vance Joseph did well enough down the stretch, and he's going to be the head coach for the Dolphins. So it doesn't take a whole lot. As long as you're basically, if you've done it before, it's a cycle. He had a head coaching job. He takes the Falcons to the Super Bowl, and then over the next couple of years that he falls out of grace, he gets fired, goes and gets a coordinator job for a year, does decent, and now his name's already. It's just a cycle that's going to go on.
I should be a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, you can try. You're young. You can go coach at a local high school or something, and then work your way up from there, or just email Micah Bidwell. Like, hey, I can solve this fucking.
What's up, issue. Dude? Do you want me to be your coach for your team?
My credentials: 2 Birds, 1 Stone podcast.
My credential: 2 Birds,
Ever heard of it?
Podcast. Associate's degree in civil engineering. Right on the spot.
So there's lots to be seen of what's going to happen this offseason. We'll be 100% be looking for a D coordinator. That much we know for sure. But what do we do now? The new season of Ozark came out, so I've been watching that.
I've just been chilling.
We pray for new uniforms. That'll be fun. If you haven't seen them yet, go look at my Twitter. I made a mock set of unis. I think they look pretty clean. I'm going to probably make like 40,000 different uniform types just to take up my time this offseason.
I'm surprised I didn't say anything to you, but we're hopefully going to get T-shirts made soon.
Oh, you think?
I've never said anything to anybody, but that just was something I thought.
Well, make sure you run those by me, little bro. I'd like to see them before we put any money into that.
T-shirts made. Yeah. I
just so you might not like our show very much, but if you're listening, the shirts will probably be cool. I mean, we'll make sure that the shirts are cool.
Show's mediocre, but the shirts will be sweet.
Oh man. So I mean, okay, cool. 2 Birds, 1 Stone shirts. That's something to look forward to.
Coming. Yes.
Probably
the
combine is like less than 2 months away. That's like
we're probably gonna do
March
like
1st.
Probably gonna do like drafts, like a draft sort of episode.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about this, but we'll talk it out with our listeners. We'll probably only do a show like.
We'll ask Mom what she wants to hear.
Yeah, we'll ask Mom. We'll probably only do like once a month, maybe.
I want to do 1 a month. There's really not going to be a shitload to talk about, but this is something we could talk about off air.
It's been already pretty busy.
Yeah.
In the last couple weeks of the first part of this off season, but yeah, we'll definitely do draft shows. We'll try and have maybe some guests on.
I emailed Greg Dortch, or not emailed. I slid in his Twitter DMs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yet it's been like 3 weeks, so maybe he will. He's been busy.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep, there's plenty to look forward to. So far, the rest of this year and season.
That was season 1 of 2 Birds, 1 Stone.
The
And he was
first
kind of
season.
successful. I mean, well, the Cardinals weren't, but like for a show, I mean, it
We
was a
started to pick up
fun
speed at the
ride.
end.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
I mean,
You
we
know,
went from having like 5 listeners at the end to like 35
fuck
towards the end
yeah,
of it.
maybe even more.
Like
We're not going to tell you
like
what the numbers are.
like our good friend, piece of shit, Titans friend once
Uh-huh.
said, Titans fan friend once said, Rome wasn't built overnight.
Nope.
So keep that in mind.
We'll probably do one after the Super Bowl, praying that it's not a Rams or 49er win. Quick, what do you want in the Super Bowl? Niners or Rams?
Who do I want? Niners.
For sure. I think we can all probably agree on that, right? Yeah.
I think it's kind of silly for Cardinals fans like, oh, fuck the Rams, fuck the Niners, fuck this Neshard. I'm not watching the fucking the NFC
Oh, well, you
championship.
got to watch it.
Fuck that. No, that's kind of cool. Both teams from like your division making the ball, like that's kind of cool for literally like the teams that represent the
Pride
NFC,
thing. I don't know if it's
both in your
cool,
division.
but I understand what you're saying.
I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I like it.
I would have preferred neither of them be there for sure, but they are. And we were 3-1 against them in the regular season combined.
Thanks, Clifford.
Go Bengals. That's what I think. That's the consensus around here.
Joe
We're all
Burrow's
kind of
cool,
pulling for
and
Joe
he has
Burrow.
fake teeth. You'll see a
Yeah,
ESPN
right on
segment
that.
about
He
if they
does
make
have
the
the
if
new-
they make the Super Bowl. I'm sure they'll make an ESPN segment on his fake teeth, and I will be credited because I'm the first one that said anything about it.
I'm trying to refrain from telling you guys when the next episode will be because I lie to you guys pretty much every single time I say when the next episode will be. But it'll be after the Super Bowl. I'll say that. Unless something
Let's say
crazy
February
happens.
February 27th.
Sure, something like that. Unless like Cliff gets fired or something, then we'll have to do an emergency show. But
I
that's
would
not
hate if
happening.
that happened. That would
Boo-hoo.
suck.
Boo-hoo. All right, folks. Well, for the last time of season 1 of Two Birds, One Stone, go Birds.
Thanks for riding with us all year. It's been fun.
It.
It's really been a good time for us to do this. So shirts are coming.
Good
maybe.
shit. Keep an eye out, baby. Shirts are coming.
We'll see you in a month.
Right on. Go Birds, everybody.